Welcome along to the second part of our video tutorial where we are making ourselves a mobile app for the Caloundra Music Festival. In the first video we made 5 different scenes. We had the home scene here, we had the ticket prices scene, we had the list of artists playing at the festival, we had a photo gallery which we haven't touched yet, and we've also got the contact page. In this video what we're going to do is get this photo gallery working. We're also going to add a splash screen in at the start of our app, and we're also going to get the menu bar down the bottom of each scene working as well. But today we're going to start on this scene here, which is the gallery scene. And once you load it up, go to your timeline down the bottom, and we just need to delete a few layers to begin with. The instructions layer here you can trash. The menu layer, which is this little grey box down the bottom here, we don't need, so we'll trash that. And the background layer, that black and grey grid there, just trash that as well. We want to have our consistent blue background across each scene. So I've just got the actions layer and the gallery items layer left on our page. I want you to go across to the actions layer next and bring up your actions box by pressing F9. And I want you to scroll down through that actions box to about line number 54 where you see this options menu code. When you see the options menu code, we need to highlight all those option menus. The options menu code. So scroll down. It ends just before the word stop there. So get down to that little curly brace on about line 78. So that's about line 54 to line 78 now highlighted. What we're going to do is just delete that. We don't need that options menu code anymore. We'll leave the rest of the code though, because that makes our swipe gallery work. There is one more thing we do need to change in this code, and it's back up the top. It's on line 8 where it says the variable total gallery items and the number equals 4. That means we've got 4 pictures in our photo gallery. What we want to do is change that 4 to a 5. We're going to actually have 5 photos in our photo gallery. Okay, so we can close the actions off now and we can start to remove these coloured boxes and put our photos in. Okay, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to click on the gallery items layer to select that bunch of coloured boxes and then double click on them. And that's going to bring us into isolation mode where we can begin editing these coloured boxes. Now layer 3 that you're going to see here, it's actually the numbers on top of the boxes and they serve no purpose to us. So just trash that layer. Now I'm going to leave the coloured boxes there, just lock them into place for a moment. And I'm going to make a new layer above them and I'm going to call it photos. Now I'm going to load up my resources folder where we've got all the Caloundra Music Festival documents. I'll just have to find them. Oops, wrong folder. Here they are. And you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gallery photos. And I've resized them already to fit perfectly into our app. So what I'm going to do is pick up the gallery 1 item and simply drag it over to Flash and drop it on the page. Once it's in, just get it right on top of that red box. Your guides should help you out and show you when you're right on top of that red box. And then it's just a matter of repeating that process for the other 4 gallery items. So I'll get the second one now and sit it right on top of the orange box. Again, use your guides to sort that out and get it in the right spot. Just press Ctrl- then to zoom out, and now I can see the other gallery items. There's the third one. Here comes the fourth. Now the fifth one, you'll notice that we haven't got a space for the fifth one. And what we need to do is make sure that we've got the same amount of empty space between each photo. So what I'm going to do is just zoom in here on these last 2 photos. I'm going to get in pretty tight here. Oops, go back across. There they are. What I want to do is grab my rectangle tool. Make sure you've turned the stroke off and you've selected a colour. Doesn't matter what colour. And I'm going to get you to draw a box that goes from one edge of that photo across to the edge of the other photo. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Once you've drawn a box in filling that gap, you can zoom back out a little bit. And what we're going to do is just pick that little rectangle up and move it to the other side of that photo. Okay, and now we'll be able to put our other photo in, the 5th gallery item, with the exact same gap that all these other photos have. I'll show you what I mean when I put it in. So I'll grab this 5th gallery item and drop it onto my page, and I know that it's going to sit right on the edge of that green box, and I'll just use my guides to get it into position with the other ones. I can now delete that green box because I have the exact same space between each of those photos. So it should be looking something like that when you're done. Okay, so once you've got your gallery items in there, you can delete layer 1. That's just those boxes, those coloured boxes there. We can just delete them, and we should just have the photos now. You can press the back button at the top here, and that's basically our photo gallery finished. Okay, that will be working when we test it in our app. People may not know to swipe left and right to make this swipe gallery work, so what we might do is just make a new layer here and call it text. And using your text tool, stick with the Roboto regular font, size 22 like we have on all our other scenes. I'm just going to choose white for my colour. And under that photo, I'm just going to stretch that text box out a bit. And I'll just tell my users to swipe left and right through the photos. So, swipe left and right to view all the photos. Some simple message like that will be fine. Okay. Last thing we need to put on this scene is the menu bar. Okay, so I'm going to make another new layer for that, and we'll just call it menu. Oops. And what we're going to do is just a simple copy and paste job from one of our other scenes. So I'm going to go back to my artist page here. I'm going to unlock the menu layer and click on the menu once, and that's going to select all the buttons. Once they're all selected, just go up to edit and copy. Go back to your gallery scene and go to edit, paste in place. You want to have those buttons in the exact same position as all the other scenes. So they fit in nicely. That's looking good now, that gallery. What we need to do is come back and code those buttons shortly. But I think that will do us for our little swipe gallery for now. Alright, so to go back to the home scene. What I'm going to add in next before this home scene is a very simple splash screen. You'll notice that when most apps load up on your phone or your tablet, that a little splash screen appears. It only lasts a couple of seconds and it just shows you the name of the app usually. So what we're going to do, I'm going to open up my little scenes box here that has a list of all my scenes, and I'm going to add a new scene in. I'm going to bring it to the top and give it the name Splash. Okay, and I'm just going to get rid of that scenes box again. And basically all I want is the Caloundra Musical Festival logo to appear on the page. So I'm going to go back to my resources here and find the logo, and pick it up and drag it over to Flash and drop it in the center of the page. If that box comes up, don't replace existing items, just click OK. So we'll just resize this a little bit. We want it to take up a good chunk of the screen, so that looks pretty good to me. Now what I think I should do with this is make it fade in. I could make it fly in from one of the sides, but I think a simple fade effect will look good. So I'm going to click on this and go to modify and convert it to a symbol, and I'll give it the name logo, and I'm going to leave it as a movie clip and click on it. OK. Okay, remember you have to convert items to a symbol if you want to animate them. That's what I want to do with this logo. So I'm just going to rename that layer to logo, and on frame number 1, that's my starting position. Okay, I'm going to click on this logo once and go across to my color effect and choose the alpha. And I'm going to make sure that that alpha is set to 0%. Just use your little slider there and make it completely invisible. That's our starting point. What we want to do over time is make this logo fade in. So I'm just going to go up to about frame 30 and press F6 to put a keyframe in. This is now my end frame. And on my end frame, I'm going to click on this logo and turn the alpha back up to 100% so I can see the logo. So between frame 1 and frame 30, we want our animation to take place. So I'll put my start point and end point in. All I need to do now is right click between those two keyframes and create a classic tween, and Flash will do the rest for me. So I can press enter now, and you can see that the logo fades in. Now once it fades in, I might let it just sit there for maybe a second or two. So I might go up to, I'll say frame 60 and press F6. We'll see if that's long enough. And between frame 30 and 60, that animation is going to do nothing but just sit there. Okay, it'll give people time to read that Caloundra Music Festival logo. So let's test it. We'll press enter. That's it. Splash screens should not take a long time to load because people don't want to sit there and watch them. They want to get into the app and actually do stuff with it. So 1 or 2 seconds. You can see down the bottom here, mine goes for 1 second. 1 or 2 seconds is all you really need for your splash screen. So that's my splash screen done. As soon as that finishes at frame 60, it will cut through to the home scene. What we need to do now is put a bit of action script on here. So I'm going to make a new layer and call it actions. The action script I want to tell it to stop. I want the animation to stop when it gets to this scene. So I'm just going to press F9 to bring up my actions box. and put in the stop code. So stop, open and close a bracket, and a semicolon. Simple as that. Okay, so now the animation will stop when it gets to this scene. Now you want to do that for each of our scenes. So I'm going to go through each scene now, make myself an actions layer, press F9, and write the word stop with the two brackets and a semicolon. I'm just going to copy that so I can paste it onto the other scenes. Okay, each scene will need an actions layer, and each scene it will need the stop code. Now the gallery's already got it in, you'll notice. Instead of having it at the top, the gallery's actually got the stop code down the bottom. So I'm just going to remove it from the bottom and stick it up the top. Alright, so that's where our stop code goes. It's just easy to find if it's at the top on every scene, it keeps it consistent. And our contact page, it's already got some actions on it by the looks of things. And there's our stop code right there, so that's fine. Alrighty. So when we go to each of our different scenes, we should be able to stop on them. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the home page here. We're going to add in some action script now to make these buttons work. Okay, since we're on the home scene, we don't need to make that home button work. So we're going to leave that button blank for the time being. I'm going to unlock this menu layer so I can work on it. What I'm going to click on is this tickets button here. Okay, you can see we've already got an instance name up the top, which is good. That's going to allow us to put some code onto this button. Basically, when we click this button, we want to be taken to the tickets scene. Same with artists. When we click on this artists button, we want to be taken to the artist scene. When we click on the camera, we want to be taken to the gallery. And we click on that envelope, we should be taken to contact. Alright, so let's start from tickets. I'm going to use my code snippets, so open up your code snippets panel. You can find it in your window menu if you haven't got it open already. Open up the action script folder, open up timeline navigation, and double click on click to go to scene and play. Now it's going to put some code into your action script box. Basically all you need to change is the green box here. You want to tell it to go to the tickets scene. Okay, so what we've got here, I'll show you. We've got this button called tickets sitting on our page, and Flash is listening out, that's what the event listener is, for when we use our mouse to click on that button. When we do click on the tickets button, we're going to run a function which is called click to go to scene. Okay, and this function appears just below here. Basically what it's saying is when we click on that button, we're going to go to frame 1 of the tickets scene. That's what that piece of code is telling you. Alrighty, so this grey stuff at the top, it's just a comment. The computer doesn't actually read that, it's just there for our own use so we can understand what this piece of code down here is doing. So you can actually delete that comment, and we're going to put our own in. So do 2 forward slashes, that creates a comment, and I'm going to put a space in, and I'm just going to write ticket button code. And I will know now that this piece of code will make the ticket button work. Alrighty, so I'm closing my action script box up now, and I'm going to go to the next button. And it's for the artists. So it's the same deal. I'm going to go back to my code snippets, choose the click to go to scene and play option here, and instead of going to scene 3, we want to go to the artists scene. Again, this grey text up above, just delete it and make it a bit more simple. Put 2 forward slashes and write artists button code. Make sure you include these comments in your code because you will be marked on this in your assignment. Plus it makes my job a lot easier when I'm marking your assignment to know what the piece of code does exactly below that little comment. Alright, so we've got our artist button working. Let's go across to the gallery now. I'm going to go to our code snippets here. I'm going to click to go to scene and play. This time we're going to the gallery. So just change that green text to gallery and replace your comment with photo gallery button code. And finally we've got the contact page here. Okay, so we're going to go back to our code snippets, click to go to scene and play. Just delete the green writing and write in contact. Again, replace the comment. So contact button code. And that's it. We've got our 4 buttons now that we needed to get working, all coded up. We've got our stop at the top. That's pretty much done. So I'm going to lock that menu layer. I don't think there's anything else we need to change with our home page. So I might save that for the minute. I'm going to test this quickly. We won't be able to see the whole app working, but we'll just press Control Enter to give this a bit of a test run. It's probably going to come out a bit too big on the page because my resolution's stuffed. But you should see the splash screen load up. It will sit there and then flick across to my home scene, and it stops on my home scene. Now I can't see those buttons just yet. I'm going to have to open it up and test it another way. So I'm going to go across to my desktop, and I think it's this one here that I need to open up. There we go. And you can see when I click on the tickets button, it takes me to the tickets page. Now because I haven't coded up these buttons on the tickets page yet, these buttons will sit there and do nothing. I'll change color when I click on them, but they haven't been coded to go anywhere yet, so we're going to have to do that. This is the really tedious part of this tutorial. You're actually going to have to go through each scene one by one and code up these buttons one by one. Really annoying, but I can't find a quicker way to do it just yet. So what we're going to do in the next scene, which is the ticket scene, lock all your layers and then unlock the menu layer. We're going to click on the home button first of all here. When we click on the home button, we simply want to take ourselves back to the home scene. So once you've got the home button selected, pop over to your code snippets, choose the click to go to scene and play, and delete the green stuff there and write home. We'll replace that comment at the top with home button code. Alright, hopefully you're getting the idea of how this works. Because we're on the tickets page, we don't need to code up that ticket button, so we're just going to leave that blank. We'll move across to the artists button, and we will click to go to scene and play, and we'll put in the artists. And again, replace that comment with artists button code. I'm just going to fly through this a bit quicker now because I think you get the idea. So I'll click on the gallery, do the click to go to scene and play, and we're going to put in the gallery code. The comment will say photo gallery button code. And then finally we've got our contact button here, so we'll click to go to scene and play, and we'll be going to the contact page. Replace the comment with 2 forward slashes, and we'll have contact button code. Easy. Okay. What I might do is just pause the video here while I quickly go through and do that for the other 3 scenes. Okay, you don't need to watch me do that because I think you know what you're doing now. I'll come back once I have finished coding up all these buttons. Alright, so I am back now. I've coded up all my buttons. What I'm going to do is press Control Enter just to publish that app, and then I'm going to go and test it. Now when it loads up, to begin with, my resolution's a bit out, so I'll have to close it there and actually open it from my desktop where I've saved it. You can see my splash screen and my home page loads up and stops. When I press the tickets button, I go to the tickets page. When I press the artists button, it takes me to the artists. I can scroll through them all. I've got my gallery here. I'll have to test that on my phone to see if that's working. And from my gallery, I can go to my contact page. Okay, I can click on this link as well and load up my email account. I can go back through those buttons and click anywhere through the app, and all those buttons are working fine. Okay, so we'll close that up now. So we've basically got ourselves a working app. So what we're going to do now is put it onto our phone and give it a test run. So we've got to publish it first. So pop over to your publish settings here on the right hand side, and you want to choose where you want to publish that to. Okay, I'm just publishing to my desktop, so I know that's going to be fine just there. Then you're going to go up the top to that Air for Android option there and choose the little settings button on the right there. Once this screen pops up, you just need to make sure you've got the output file name, and app ID. I'm just going to leave them all the same as CMF, which stands for Caloundra Music Festival. Just go down and make sure you've got full screen checked. You're in portrait format. Everything else looks good there. In deployment, make sure you've got a digital certificate made up and you've got your password typed in so you can publish your app. Everything else can be left alone there. And I'd recommend making an icon. If you haven't done so, I'd like you to make a little 96 by 96 pixel icon in something like Photoshop and save it as a PNG file so you can bring it in and use an icon. Unfortunately, I haven't made an icon just yet. I might make another video after this very quickly to show you how to put an icon in and publish it to your phone. But I'll just leave it empty for now. Everything else is good. We'll click on OK. and down the bottom of your screen you can click publish, and it will just come through and say it's publishing. As long as you've got no errors, that publishing process should work. Should take probably no more than 30 seconds to publish. It is a fairly big app, so it could take a little bit longer than usual. There we go, it's all done. If you see that message that says the APK was packaged successfully, you know you've got a working app. So I'll click OK on that, click OK on that box, and if I look at my desktop, I've got that cmf.apk file. Now what I'm going to do for a sec here is just plug my phone in, and I'll just turn it on. Okay, up comes my Samsung Galaxy S6 there. You might get a message on your phone asking if you can trust this computer. I said yes, and I'll allow it to access my phone. I can open up my phone then, and I can choose which folder I want to copy that APK file to. So I'll just simply copy that APK file, pop back over to my folders where I've got my phone. I might put it in the DCIM folder and just paste it there. Okay, so I've now got the Caloundra Music Festival app on my phone. Unfortunately my webcam's not working at the moment, so I might have to make a video after this, just after I restart my computer and get my webcam working again. Okay, so once I've got it working, I will load up the last of the video and show you if that app works or not on my phone. Okay, so I'll stop the video there and I'll see you in the last part of the tutorial.